Hi, welcome to the SOLIDWORKS Electrical Tips and Tricks. I'm Cheri Gutzviller. I'm from DASI Solutions, and I'm going to be trying to provide you with some extra tools and tricks that you may or may not be familiar with at this point in time if you're using SOLIDWORKS Electrical. So the items that I am looking at trying to tell you about would be things along the lines of the electrical content portal and the use that you have available to you there, as well as some of the other aspects like file open, order, layer, spare parts list, and Lamicoid tags. Now, I'm not necessarily going to do these in order, but I wanted to at least briefly touch on what we're going to be talking about. So let's just jump right into it here by grabbing our software and going into the internet and actually looking at the SOLIDWORKS content portal. So here I'm going to go ahead to my content portal here. Now, as you can see, there is a thing which you're probably used to, which is the 3D Content Central and the normal 3D parts that you can get for mechanical. You can get these also you can get parts through my SolidWorks. You can also get more through the electrical content. So here under this, what I've got is I've actually got all three so that I have access to here. But if I go to this electrical content portal, it is different than the 3D Content Central. What you will see is that we have catalogs here. Now, these catalogs are available so that you can actually see everything, some of the things that we've got. So like for ABB, we've got some 3D models here. Be cautious to see the icons. If there is a silver icon, that means that you are automatically, if you have access to the electrical content portal, you have direct access to the silver. If it has a gold, then what you need to do is make sure that you contact the subscription service here, so your VAR. I'm going to go ahead and show you the download here because mine is not set up for a gold membership, so you will see this error message. When you see this error message, go ahead and send an email to the SolidWorks Electrical request at solidworks.com here at the 3ds.com, and go ahead and say that you would like to request a gold membership. It does not cost you anything. This is just one way that they realize how many people are actually using some of this additional information. So that you can go ahead and grab that. If you need that link, it is, as I mentioned, it is solidworks.com/SolidWorks/products, electrical-design, and then, of course, SolidWorks Electrical Content Portal.htm. And that will get you access to this area. There are a number of catalogs that are available. So there are things, anything that you see that is silver, you have already got downloaded when you receive the software. Be aware that this is another area here where you can actually ask for content so that if there's a specific type that you are looking for, whether it be a 2D model, a 3D model, or the catalog for the manufacturers, you can go ahead and give that information here and then be able to they will probably, I am assuming they will update you when it is available. So obviously just be aware that you can ask for that. Okay, so now that we've looked at the content portal, let's look at some of the other aspects, which all of the rest of these here are dealing with the software. So we'll go ahead and get into the software. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and open up a new project here with our ANSI standard to actually start working with. Okay, so what we will do is we're going to go ahead and open up just a standard schematic, and I'm going to draw a push button, just a standard push button here. Just a, we'll go ahead and grab an emergency stop. So here we go. We'll just drop that in. And now I'm going to go ahead and add a manufacturer. We'll go with, it even has Muller already at the beginning here. Go ahead and grab all. So we'll grab this first one here. Select that. And I'll go ahead and make those two equal. All right. Now, this manufacturer right now, the first thing I'm going to do is just go ahead and add it. We'll zoom in here. I'm going to actually make this have a description that we will be using later for the Lamicoid tag. That's the push button tag or the ring tag that you normally put on push buttons on the panel. So I will go ahead here and I'm just going to add a description. We're going to call it e-stop. All right. So here I have this e-stop push button. But of course, the first thing I want to do is maybe add some extra information to this. Maybe I'll go ahead and just grab a wire real quick here, draw this through. All right. So when I'm creating this push button, now that I've got this e-stop functionality here for the description, of course, when I go to put it onto a ring tag for my panel layout, I'm going to want to do some extra information. The first thing you're going to want to do is actually create that footprint. So what we will go ahead and do is actually go into our library, into the footprints here. We're going to make an actual symbol. That symbol, we are going to go ahead and call it a push button Lamicoid tag. Oops. And I will go ahead and copy this into the description as well. Okay, nothing too out of the norm here. So I'm going to call it this one. That is the one that we just started, so I'll open that up. Now, I'm creating this new piece here. Now, as a default, your origin is the insertion point. So if you don't want to worry about, say you actually are creating those footprints to begin with, if you forget to add this insertion point, it's not an issue because it will be off of the origin. What I'm going to go ahead and do though is actually take, I've created in, say, AutoCAD, DraftSite, I've created a DWG. I'm going to go ahead and open through File here. I'm just going to go ahead and open that DWG. When I open up that DWG, I don't have to go to a third-party software. I can actually just come right here to my SolidWorks. I can do a copy of everything here. Right-click, copy, and as you can see, I'm in the Lamicoid drawing right now. I'm going to go into my push button footprint, and I'm going to go ahead and paste this. When I paste it, I can then drop it off on where I would like it to work. So we'll just go ahead and use that. We'll use the draw to grab a circle just to actually show where that is being snapped. I normally like to use my O-snap here. Turn on my O-snap for that intersection and the origin. Close that. And so we'll go ahead and draw that circle. So from 0, 0. And we'll say that should look pretty good. Now there are two attributes that I would like to add to this symbol. So I will go ahead and insert those attributes. The first one is I like to use the short tag. And the second one, of course, is that description that we just added to the part, which is under the user data from the component. And it is this description here. It is not the one that is under the other areas. There are other descriptions available. I'll put those right here, but I'm going to have to change some of that information to be a little bit larger, so I'll change the properties. And we'll make this a 4.0. And I like to go with something along the lines of centered. All right, so now I will grab each one of these individually. All right, so it will have the tag, it will have the description, and this 0 point. I'm going to move this over just a little bit here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close this drawing because I don't need that anymore. And I will now save this symbol. All right, so we have this push button here. First thing I'm going to do is add a Lamicoid manufacturer. By adding this manufacturer, I am actually adding a secondary part. So here I am going to grab all, and I have actually created a Lamicoid tag already. It's called an accessory. We'll go ahead and call it, look for that name, which is Lamicoid. Oops. All right. And I will add that. What this is, it doesn't have any connections. If I look at this, this is strictly just a part number that is called Lamicoid tag, as it is an accessory, has no further information in it whatsoever. But what it will have is a 2D footprint. So I can select a 2D footprint that I've created. And by doing so, it is then going to allow me to utilize this in my cabinet layout. So we've already looked at the file open. Let's go ahead and create a cabinet layout in the 2D fashion here. Go to my drawings, come to the cabinet layout. All right, and so what I'm going to do here is take that one push button, and as you see, we have two footprints available. Open this. We should have two footprints here. As you can see, we've got the Lamicoid tag. I'll go ahead and insert that. Here is our push button, and as you can see, it already is associated to that PB1. And at the same time, it's bringing up this E-stop. I can then go ahead and grab the E-stop here, and as you can see, snap right to the center. I can come here to this symbol, and of course, if you're familiar with the attributes, you can go ahead and uncheck that symbol, so that way you're not seeing both of them. And of course, anytime I make a change here, as far as a description for this, of course, it's going to then update my Lamicoid tag. So we'll go ahead and change this to emergency. And of course, then it also changes here, as well as on my push button on my panel. So when I'm creating a lot of these, I don't have to worry about it later that it didn't update or any of that good fun stuff. There is also something here. So sometimes you may have an issue where this symbol is on top of the other one. There is that capability of creating an order. Under our modify tool, you have an order. You can actually set things to foreground and background. So if you're doing like lines just for lining stuff up, those center lines just to make a bunch of buttons in the same fashion for nice clean, you can actually do that by creating that backwards and forwards orders to show which one is above and below. You just have to follow the steps here for that. So you would go through and select which one's in the foreground and which one's in the background and finish up that scenario. There is also something else that you may want to actually end up doing, and that is under layers. You may want to create a layer. So here I've got a layer that I created that was layer 1. You can add layers here, and what you can do with those layers is actually go into the symbol and create any piece of this as a specific layer. So I am going to change this one here. Let's go, we'll change each one individually here so it's easier to see. The properties here, I'm going to go ahead and tell it that it is, I've got it as layer 1, which that layer should actually work We don't necessarily need the layer 2, and we'll double check these. I believe I've made all of these the same layer. We'll go ahead and change that to layer 1. And we'll change this one as well. And that is layer. All right, so double check to make sure that one actually is already. Cool. All right, and I will save this. Now I'm going to update this symbol. All right, now that I've updated this symbol here, I am going to go ahead, and if you are creating this drawing, what you have available in the layers is making them active or not, and also printable. So if I were to turn these layers off, then what you should end up seeing is only the Lamicoid tag. So now, of course, if I have a full set of Lamicoid tags on a door, I can then simply go ahead and export that DWG. And when I do, so maybe I'm just going to have just that one, I can actually save that directly to my desktop or directly into the project, or however I'm producing my DWGs or DXF. I can actually select just this one here. So if I go to the selection and I select just that one, so go ahead and check that, say OK. I have just that one. It's going to just print out just the Lamicoid tags, which is just fine with the way we want to do it. Of course, you got to have the drawing closed in order to be able to process that. But you've got that capability of now creating a Lamicoid tag list or a printout for somebody that's actually having to create those. Or what you can do is you can create those in your project report. As you know, the project reports, we have a bill of materials here. That bill of materials has this Lamicoid tag. We can go ahead and create the bill of materials, which would have other information to it. One of the things that I wanted to point out here, if you've used a spare parts list, spare parts being wearable items because your customer is requiring that you provide a wearable suggested purchased items list to keep their production up and running. I know in the big three it is something that is readily requested. You can come in here to the symbol, and we're going to go into that manufacturer and edit it. And what I'm going to do is under this user data here, I am going to go ahead and tell it that it is a spare part. This way, being that it's in the library, I no longer need to worry about whether I remember what's a spare part or not, because when I create my report, I can then come in here to my properties for my bill of materials and add that column for that spare part. Now this will be the translatable data to here. Say OK. I'm going to adjust this description down to maybe 7 inches and hit apply and close this. You will see that it shows you what the spare parts are. Now you can go ahead and export that to Excel. You now have an Excel spreadsheet, or you can just go ahead and generate your normal bill of materials, and it will call out what is a spare part and what is not. So in your bill of materials now, I have a list calling out the spare part for the motor push button. Or if it's a long lead item, maybe it's some very large size motors, maybe it's valves, something along that line that you've got available. Those are going to be the types of things that you can use for the spare parts. Okay, but we can also create that drawing that we were talking about here to begin with this other area here with our drawings. Okay, So now that that is closed, we'll go ahead and create this. And we're going to select just page number 6. Say OK. It creates that page, and now on the desktop I have it available to use in eDrawings to give to my panel builder and have it available there. So that being the case, we looked at a little bit of the electrical content portal, the file open, the use of order or layers, a spare parts list and how that can be created, and then of course the Lamicoid tags. Thanks so much for joining us. Hopefully you found this informative, and if you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to contact us here at DASI. We are more than willing to help answer any questions that you may have. Thank you very much.